Hello again, it's Veronica, your American expat and living in Portugal. And I've gotten so many questions, and I see there's a definite need to create these little videos based on the fact they're getting posted all over Facebook. So I am back to answer more questions. And I think based on the last one where I said just post questions underneath, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, I'm going to try to answer as many of them as I can. Number one, English. Okay, so there's this English proficiency worldwide survey that goes around, and Portugal is one of the highest English speaking countries in the world. Now that doesn't mean don't be a jerk and just come over here and never try to learn the language. That's not cool. You're try to integrate, do the best you can. I've been here 2 years and I've been trying. The language is not easy. A lot of things end in a push, 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 push. One of the best stories is when we first came over and we were looking where we wanted to live, right? We went from the north to the south. We stayed in different areas. I think it's really good to come over and get a vibe, see, what speaks to you and why it speaks to you. Obviously, I chose the South because it's like Southern California, and I'm a Southern California girl. There's beaches everywhere, 300 sunny days plus a year. It's my happy spot. I can be outside on the beach. I can be biking, hiking, climbing, and there's a lot of small towns and a few big ones. So it's not like the sprawling metropolis. Just because I grew up in Orange County doesn't mean I want to live in a concrete jungle. So I found a place that was right by the river to Spain. I literally look at Spain. I'm looking out my window right there, and that's Spain. So I can hop the ferry, be in Spain in 9 minutes, have some tapas, some sangria, do some shopping, get these cute little tops that they sell in Spain, and then hop right back over on the ferry, 9 minutes, be back in another country. How cool is that? And it is open again. COVID, yes, slowed down a lot of the tourism, but the borders are slowly opening. America goes back and forth. I hear different data on it every day. So I'm not saying anything about America, but just check online. Tourism's back. That's the Spanish are here, the French are here, the British are here. The British are coming. They wanted their holidays. They found ways to get here. They were here even during the lockdown. You were supposed to only travel for business, but somehow nobody asked them, so they just traveled because they could. So one of the funny stories about the language, I went to a town called Caciques, and I kept asking everyone, I'm going to Caciques, I'm going to Caciques. And they said, yeah, I've never heard of that. We don't know where you're going. And it's just right outside of Lisbon. It's kind of like the Newport Beach, the fancy, beautiful expat community. And it was a little bit too big, is why we decided not to stay there. Plus it was up north, which can get a little bit cooler. But okay, so finally someone says, write down the name of the place. Cascais, Caciques. Cascais. It's called Cascais. And I had the hardest time saying it. I was trying to say Cascais, Cascais, Cascais. Finally, a friend told me, you just say it really fast, like that old commercial, Cash Guys, the Cash Guys. So you say Cash Guys really fast, and it kind of sounds like it. So a lot of the Portuguese is a sh at the end, and it's not the same as Spanish. You can kind of get around with Spanish, but you want your Portuguese, and Brazilian Portuguese will work. There's continental Portuguese and Brazilian Portuguese. In the South, in the Algarve, almost everybody speaks English. They started learning it in the schools, 20, 30 years ago. So almost everybody speaks it. All your shops are going to speak it. And when I speak my butchered Portuguese, una agua com gás, por favor, which means a water with bubbles, please. They answer back in English because I obviously am messing up somewhere in the pronunciation. So the goal of this year is try to get more words, more pronunciation down, but they do like to practice their English back. So don't panic, don't say, I need to learn it before I come over there, you'll be fine. If you're in a small village in the middle of nowhere, it might be a little bit tougher for you. But the Algarve, because of the British influence, this is their holiday, they hop a flight, they're here in a couple hours. So, okay, the next question is why? Why Portugal? Someone actually asked me why. Well, it's in Europe. And Europe has the history, it has the culture, it has the wonderful people. They're very humble and kind, and I have the best Portuguese family that lives next door to me, and I just love them. I feel like that has been the biggest blessing that I've been given since I moved here. My neighbor Anna, hi Anna, she's just a doll. She's a teacher, she speaks English. Her daughter speaks very good English, and they're trying to help me with my Portuguese. So the people are just amazing. The economy, if you just want to come here to retire, your money will go a long way. I sit at cafes for hours, and I mean, you'll have a few friends over, a few beers, snacks, coffee, and it's like 10 euros, which is the equivalent of 11, or depending on the exchange rate, of course. It's about 85 to 90 to 1, so you lose about 10 to 15 cents as of now on the dollar to euro conversion. And also, one of the questions people ask is banking. So you can't open a bank account here when you're a resident. I felt like I went with Santander, and I felt like I literally was filling out a loan application. I had to keep going back and back and back. But I met my banker. She's a sweetheart. Thelma, hello Thelma. And I see her walking around my town too. I just saw her today walking back from a cafe. So you'll get to know, depending on which town you choose and how you choose to live, you might get to know everybody. Today I met a buddy at a cafe, and then this other gentleman that I've met just walking around, Zed, hi Zed. He was there with another friend, introduced me to him. I saw my Italian neighbor that just moved in. I'm walking back home, saw my butcher, saw my banker, saw the gal that owns a store underneath, Lydia. In fact, one time I had a package delivered, and because I wasn't home, they left it in her store. It's one of the DHL drop-offs. On my way back to my apartment, the butcher and Telma and a few other people were standing outside, and everyone's, you have a package, you have a package. So great. Everyone in my neighborhood knew I had a package. I redesigned my place and had new granite put in, and ripped out the bathroom and put in granite, and it was my new sink. So everybody knew I had a new sink. That's the joys again. I chose a smaller town. I should say it's medium-sized, Villarreal de Santo Antonio, because I'm walking distance to everything. I can, underneath my place, there's 3 to 4 cafes, a little bar, a restaurant, the butcher, some services, real estate company. There's a lot of great things. Okay, so back to what else? Okay, so money. One of the best things you can do is go to Charles Schwab, and you can take money out of the ATMs here, and you just pull euros out, and they don't charge any fee to do that. If there's a fee on the ATM, they give it back, kind of like USAA, but I still found that USAA was a little high for me. So decide who you want, but if you Google it, most people all say it, and I got it from forums and Googling online, that Charles Schwab is the best way. So you open a brokerage account, then a checking account, put some of the money into the checking, and you can just withdraw it when you come over. And great rates. So when I've had to wire money, really good rates. They get the Barclay industrial rate, and they pass it along to you. So very nice. Someone asked me about traveler's checks a few years ago. Nobody does that anymore. Like I don't even know if you could get those. So just, you go to the ATM and pull out cash. That's how you get money. Some people order money in advance. I don't know why you do that. Every airport has an ATM. Just double check that your ATM's turned on, and let your bank know you're traveling, in case the little security gizmos get popped up. Money, super easy. I just transfer it over and pull it out of the ATM. Or you can actually deposit money in an ATM here. So you can pull it out of one account and then put it in your other. I prefer to go inside. I'm still uncomfortable shoving notes inside the machine, but people do it. You pay your bills at the ATM. Like, you can pay your phone bill, your taxes, all of it is tied to your ATM and your bank. So I went down to pay my property taxes. My property taxes were $400 a year, and that's on a property range of 150,000 euros, okay? So I went down to pay my taxes, and it's 2 payments of 200 and something. And I told, the guy at the finance office, okay, I just want to pay it all, because you pull a little ticket and then you wait your turn. I had to wait almost an hour to get my turn to pay taxes. And he said, would you want to pay for both? And I had said, yeah, I want to pay for both. And he was like, are you sure? It's 200 euros. Like, that's a lot of money here, you know? Yep, I don't want to wait in line another hour, just pay for both. He asked me again, you're sure you want to pay for both sections now? Yes, my time is worth it. And then right as he was about to punch it into the machine, you're sure? I'm like, yes, 400 euros isn't, you know, it's taxes. You should see, that wasn't even a month of taxes when I lived in El Segundo, California. Property taxes there were $1,000 a month. I mean, come on, this is great here. And my house with a view, it's such a great price. Okay, getting back to banking. Yes, so get your residency, open up a bank account. You can do all of that once you come over here. If you need your residency, I'm going to refer you to an attorney, and I have a few. You can type below here, Facebook, anything. PM me on Facebook. I'll respond, and that's good because we can stay in touch. I like the little messenger on Facebook, and we don't have to trade personal information. You don't have to give me your phone number. I don't have to give you mine, and I can answer any questions for you. Then if we like each other, you can come on WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is what everybody here uses. So install that on your phone right now. WhatsApp. It's by Facebook, and it's free. And because the cellular telephone plans here are not unlimited like they are in the United States, everybody uses that. So if you don't have WhatsApp, most people won't be able to communicate with you here because it is the standard. You can make telephone calls on it. It's like FaceTiming. It's like messengering. But once you give someone your phone number, then you can do texting, send pictures, all of it, all in one app. And there's even a professional version, which I'm going to look into because now that I accepted a job, which I was supposed to be retired, but I accepted a job. Okay, the next thing, groceries. Someone asked me, what's it like to buy groceries there? It's like everywhere. You walk up and down the aisles and you find the stuff you like. There's even a Costco. There's a Costco in Seville, which is an hour and a half from me because I live on the border to Spain. If you're inland a little bit more, it's going to take you longer to get to it. But, try to assimilate and use the products here. A lot of them are environmental. A lot of them are fun. I mean, it's Europe. You know, you've got stuff from Paris. You've got stuff that Portugal makes. In fact, I just got nail polish from Portugal. Oh, I was going to grab it, but I already put away my nail polish. I was good. I like to keep my house tidy. But it's nice to see that things are made in Portugal and you're supporting the local economy. You're coming to their country, so support them. And that's why they're allowing visas, and especially the golden visa. That's the one, if you buy a property over $500,000, you can apply for the golden visa. So it makes it very easy to get that one. If you don't have $500,000, you're not from California or one of the places where you sell your condo for $1 million, you know, your chunky condo's $1 million there. My house in El Segundo was $1 million, and it went up to $1.4 million and then dropped in 2007. 2008, we sold it for $1,250,000, and now it's up to $1.8 million. And this is a house with no grass, no lawn, like just, you know, you're landlocked by your neighbors, you know, just a little plot. So I think people who want to retire from the higher income areas of California, it's a really easy move for you because essentially what you'd be paying in property taxes, you'd have a place here, no problem. You can get mortgages here, but that's not going to work for a golden visa. So the goal of the golden visa is for people to bring money from the outside in. Again, I have a few different attorneys that I can refer you to if you need help with that. They've been pretty good. I have friends that did it without an attorney and they had a long timeline, so they just did it themselves, and if they made mistakes, they just fixed it. So there's ways to do it yourself as well. You can just go on the internet and you apply to your regular consulate, Portuguese consulate, whoever is near you. The golden visa does skip ahead of everybody else because they want the money in here. So if you have the option to do that and you're going to buy a house here anyway, then you'll want to do that. And again, with that one, you contact me or your attorney first because you need to do the steps properly. The way that the money comes in, it's really important that you do it right. So having an attorney on your side is pretty good. Coming over here now, the borders are starting to open, so hopefully you'll all be able to come over. I think the best thing is to come over and find what you like, find what has a good vibe. And then you can meet your attorneys, you can meet your real estate agent, you can look at different regions and see what speaks to you. Someone asked if it's a good idea to rent. Sure, if you go and do a trip around and you don't find something that speaks to you, then rent a place. You can come in 3 months on the tourist visa, or if you get a D7, 4 months. And then the D7 visa, you can eventually convert. That's the retirement one. But you have to prove you have money. And with the retirement one, you can decide if you want to rent and then buy, and that gives you 4 months, and then you extend the 4 months longer, and over time it becomes a longer visa. Again, I'm not the expert on that. I don't claim to be. This is what I hear from all my friends. So my American friends that I spent 4th of July with, barbecuing and being silly, we had so much fun. They did it themselves, and they're kind of in limbo right now. So what's happening with them is, because they're beyond that first stage of the visa, they can't leave. So they can't leave and come back, or they wouldn't be able to come back, because the SEF, which is like our INS, right, has been closed and then pushing back a lot of appointments. If you're here, you can stay here, and they've been very gracious and kind. Anyone who got stuck here during COVID, they were so kind. They automatically came out and extended the ability to stay here. Well, that's what I have to touch on. When someone says, oh, what does Portugal have for me? What does it have for me? I think you really need to change the mentality of what can you bring to Portugal. It's a beautiful country with wonderful people, and there's so much to it, but I just hate to think people are coming here just to take, I want free healthcare, I want this or that. And someone said, why would you leave America? What's wrong with America? Well, it's not so much that I'm leaving America as that I am going where my heart wants me to be. I want to be in Europe. I want to see the history. I want to see the culture. America's a baby. I've seen it. It's a baby. It's great. I'm not saying America's bad. I'm saying that Europe has so much to offer. So if you don't have that wanderlust, if you haven't been to Europe and you don't feel like calling your name, then it's not for you. You don't come live here. It's just, it either sings to you or it doesn't. So come on over or don't. But for those that are watching this, most of you want to be here. So this comment, it's so funny. What's wrong with staying in America? I can't talk to you. You're not my tribe. You're not my people. I'm a traveler. I love Europe. I can be in Paris. Okay, non-COVID, right? I can be in Paris in 2 hours. I can be in London in 3 and for 50 euros. I can hop a train and be anywhere in Europe. I can get in my car and road trip. I road tripped I had my car shipped to, oh, that's another comment on here. My car shipped to the UK, and I drove it through the Channel, up to the top of France, through Bordeaux, through Spain, and into Portugal. That's cool. I mean, if I have to explain that to somebody, not my tribe. Sorry, not for you. And that's okay. This isn't for everybody. It's for the travelers and those with wanderlust and those who want to see another culture and history. My goodness, I drive past a castle to get to my house. My rotary meets in a palace. This is cool stuff. So, getting back to buying in Portugal, okay? This is the big thing that I think I get a lot of questions on, okay? The agents here, a lot of them are dual agency. And what that means is they have both the listing and the buyer. So they list the property and they find the buyer. It's illegal in some states in America, and it's highly regulated in California to do this. The problem being that you know information on both people, and you have to make sure you're always putting the client first, right? So when I moved here, I looked at 3 different properties. The first one I put an offer on, and they wouldn't even open it. They wouldn't even reply for 5 days. And I did the work. I went to an attorney. I had the attorney write it up. The agent just didn't even open it. And finally, I kept calling, no answer. I asked my attorney if he would call. When my attorney called, then he finally opened it and said, oh, okay, we went back and forth a little bit. At that time, I kind of didn't trust the process, and I'd also asked, the house had been vacant a couple years. I asked them to turn on the electric, gas, and water, and they didn't really want to do that. So that was a dead deal. When I said no, they did come chasing me, but again, it's the comfort level. So you know what you're going to feel comfortable with and not feel comfortable with. The second one, I sent a surveyor which is kind of like our appraiser, but he does like a property inspection at the same time as the home inspection, so he kind of is both. And he said there were a few little issues, and my attorney recommended that's probably not a good one. Then the third time was a charm, and everything worked great with that. And then again, having a great attorney. One of the funniest stories is that we were sitting at the closing table, and when you're signing your paperwork and your deed, it's not like America where they take it and they, give it to the county recorder and it's recorded and it takes a day or two for all that to process. It's immediate. When you sign, you're at the notary's office, he's uploading it to the computer, it's immediate. And just before we were all signing, because my attorney wrote up the contract, they didn't counter it at all, so it was all in my favor. And the agents hadn't prepared the sellers for, we put in prorated taxes, which they're not used to here. Prorated meaning I was buying midway through the year, so I'm not going to pay the taxes for the time I didn't live in the property, right? So they were calculating, okay, she's going to be paying the taxes, it's coming up, so you paid for the part you lived in the property. She pays for the part that she lived in the property. With that, they had a fit because they weren't prepared. They didn't know they're gonna have to write me a check, and it wasn't taken out correctly in the way that the agents prepared the final accounting. So there was a fight, and it was great. I just sat and I watched my attorney yelling at Portuguese to the buyers, and they didn't have an attorney with them, so they were expecting the real estate agent to represent them, but really they're representing both of us, so how can you take one side over the other? So it's really good to have your own agent, and I've started working as an agent here because kind of ironic how it happened, but through Facebook and I love Portugal videos, and I just am so happy here. And I think as Americans or Canadians and even some of the British, we have a little bit different style of doing things. Our style is a bit more aggressive, and we do have to learn with Portuguese. They're more relaxed. I don't know how many times I've been somewhere and I'm like, I've got to go, and the people want to keep talking, and I get to the other end and the other person's late because people are more important. And this is where we have to change culturally. We're in their country, so we have to be prepared to take longer, hang out with family more, stay up later, sleep in, take a nap. It's really a cool way to put family, friends, relationships first. So that means, sometimes your contractor's not going to be on time because his neighbor stopped by. And they don't like to give bad news. So sometimes you'll wait for a contractor who can't show up, and you wait and wait and wait. And you learn that's part of it. When I first got here, I just felt like I couldn't get anything done. I was banging my head against the wall, and there was a day, yes, I sat in the corner and cried. I said, this sucks. And it wasn't that bad. It was just, I was also in a place that was hard for me. My husband had passed away, so I was trying to do everything on my own. And, when a contractor doesn't show up, that's a minor frustration for most of us, but in that case, it was a little bit harder for me. But if you go in with the expectation that, don't worry about it, get them on WhatsApp and just say, hey, when you're on the way over, let me know. And then that way you're not waiting too long for him, or, you just plan the whole day to sit at home and do things at home, and don't overplan. I think that's the biggest thing. In America, we've got our lists where we're like, from 8 to 8:30 we're doing this, from 8:30 to 8:45 we're doing 8, it's a different style of life, and it's better, less heart attacks, right? Also really good healthy food, less heart attacks because the most of the food, the fruit of the sea, the fruit di mare, the fruit of the ocean, lots of seafood, fresh seafood. If you see the boats, the fishing boats go out and come back, and if it's the day they don't fish, then they don't have fish in the restaurants. They don't freeze it and have it sitting around for days on end. It's the fresh catch from that day. It's really, really healthy. A lot of olive oil. Think of your Italian food as well. A lot of olive oil and avocados and very, very healthy food. Every town has a farmer's market. It has, some of them have rotating, and then some have what's called the mercado, which is a large building in the center of town that has fresh stands all within the inside, which is really nice. You get like big monster, the heirloom tomatoes, those big ugly ones that taste so good. They're just fresh from the farm, and usually one half is the fish. So all the fishermen have gone out in the morning, and you can go buy fresh fish and flowers. I'll post some pictures, but I know that's becoming popular in America, but we have that here. Cafe life. Get used to the cafe life, being outside. And this is what's nice is with COVID, yes, we're wearing masks, and we're all wearing masks when we go in places, and you're sanitizing your hands, and you don't wear a mask, you don't go inside. It's not like California where it's kind of people are choosing, I'm going to do it or not. It's, I went down to the mall the other day, and there's a guard at the front. If you want in, you wear your mask. So there hasn't been in the Algarve a lot of cases in my county itself. I think there was 7 new cases, and now we're getting more people from the north and more tourists. So we'll probably see more, but they're really good about sanitizing. And so with so many outdoor cafes, it naturally gives itself to more of fresh air, where you're not having that recycled air conditioning or, the germs that get trapped inside. So I think that helps a lot. And cafe culture is just great, meeting with friends, walking by tables and people are sitting out saying hello. We have a city square, and the cafes are around the city square, and you sit and you watch the kids play, even at 10, 11 at night. They're playing on their bikes, or they can rent little cars, they're driving around. It's just a really fun, happy lifestyle. You can live in the country, and that's a different type of lifestyle as well, but my friends in the country love it. But they still go walk down the street to their neighborhood pub, and they hang out, and they know the owners, they know the locals. And in the country, you really get to know your neighbors. Even though they're spread out, you still have meeting points. So I think a big sense of community is what you'll be happy to have here. Can you go get a ranch and isolate? Of course you can, Groceries, okay, on my list. Grocery stores. Our grocery stores are the same. Again, you walk in, I will put up some pictures, but there's the produce section, there's the butcher section, they have an extra section just for fresh fish. There's the fish section, there's lots of wine, big wine section. Portugal has some amazing wines, and many that are not exported, and they're great costs. Like your average bottle of wine is 2 to 3 euros. I go over to Spain, I get Rioja wines. Oh my gosh, they're Baixas, 3 to 4 euros. They're not exported, so they're great prices. You don't have all that export tax and the cost to ship and keep it cool and blah, blah, blah. If you're a wino, this is a place for you. And of course, Spain and their beef and their jamon. I kind of really feel like I've got the best of both worlds here. And then the Portuguese people being so kind and humble. And then when you pop over to Spain, Spain is great, but it is more, it's in your face, loud, and you're not gonna get heard in a restaurant unless you stand up and shout. So it's a different culture, and I think I prefer not having to stand up and shout. But they're vibrant, they're fun, gotta love Spain. And then they come here and the poor Portuguese go, they're so loud. But we love our Spanish people, and we need their tourism here too. Okay, Portugal keeps coming up on the world reports as the #1 place to retire and live. Healthy, happy, sunshine. It's a wonderful country. I can't say enough about it. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just telling you why I live here, why I chose it, and it's on the list. Feel very fortunate. The last place I lived was San Luis Obispo, California, and that was up on the World Happy radar too. When you have lots of open spaces and places to hike and bike and friendly neighbors and happy people. Again, traveling around, super easy to get around, not during COVID, but when COVID's not going on, just hop a flight, $50 and you're in Paris round trip. But you can always jump in your car and go too. I had so much fun doing a road trip up the Costa del Sol of Spain, going into France, the Pyrenees, going over into Andorra, coming back through Salamanca, Toledo, and so many great towns. I mean, you can road trip and see something new every time on the same road because, again, lots of little towns. And you don't have to always have a guidebook. Just stop if something looks cool. I was on one road trip. I'm like, hey, there's a cool old castle. This is a good time to hit the bathroom, grab a coffee, and check out what that was. So old Knights Templar castle, like super cool. Like this was on the path that just, the Knights Templar went down. I love America, but we don't have history like that. And I love it when people are like, I'm American, I'm staying in America. Well, I hate to tell you this, but chances are your relatives came from Europe because unless you're a native Indian, a Native American Indian, America's only been around a couple hundred years, That's your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, probably Irish, Scottish, British, German. Yes, they've come from other countries too, Mexico and Canada, but a lot of America is Europe, so this is really your home. This is your heritage, and check your heritage. I was able, so I talked about the visas, and no, I didn't have to go through the visa work because my father was German, and in Germany, just by bloodline, you're German. So I just went to the German consulate in San Francisco, made an appointment. Don't forget, you need to make appointments. Showed him my birth certificate, that my dad was German, a German passport from him, showed the marriage certificate and that I did belong to them through birth, and brought my little passport photos and got my passport. I just told my friend, hey Syl, told her to do the same thing. She's been putting it off forever, and she got her passport within 2 weeks. So you need to check all your family lines and what country you come from. Ireland is good about that. Germany, and I want to say that some of the Northern European countries are also, but go online, check your consulate, check if there's a way that you can get citizenship, or you already have citizenship, really. They consider you by birth, you belong to them. So it's just getting a passport. And having 2 passports, American and German, for me is visas all over the world. So the world is open to you, and it's much easier than trying to do visas. But once you do the visa process in an EU country, then you've got those rights to be able to travel around and be a bit more free. And if you're an American, you have this, you have a lot of the world at your fingertips. And I think Germany has like 144 countries that you don't need a visa for. So if you have any German heritage, boy, look that up and find out if you can get a passport. Much easier. But if the easiest way really is the golden visa. So if you're going to buy a home in Portugal and it's over $500,000, then this is going to be the easiest way for you to, if you don't, have citizenship somewhere else, to get to be here. Let's see, more questions. Let's see. I'm considering retiring early to Coimbra or perhaps Aveiro. So much so that I was supposed to have taken a trip to Portugal for that purpose back in March. Unfortunately, the COVID pandemic has put all that on hold at the moment, mainly because I really do need to see and experience Portugal in person before I start the paperwork to move. Agreed. I mean, that's just really not a question. It's just like, it's a bummer. But you have to be here. You have to come, check it out, find the vibe. Only you know where you can live. People keep asking me, where should I live? It's like, I don't know, because where I want to live may be different than you. Do you want the beach? Do you like LA? Do you like San Luis Obispo? Do you like Monterey? Do you like San Francisco? It's all so different. Or Santa Cruz. I mean, Santa Cruz is a totally different vibe as well, right, dude? So, are you a surfer? Are you a beach person? Are you need that party life all the time, like Lisbon? Lisbon's going to always have the parties and the music and well, not always. Again, COVID. Again, disclaimer, half of the stuff I'm saying is non-COVID, right? Can't go to a big concert when COVID's going on, but just depends on what you like. Do you want the super party scene? Oh my gosh, Albufeira. British come down, behave badly every weekend. Stag and hen parties? Oh, the language. So one of the things also is learning British English is different than American English. There are things you shouldn't say. I have learned there's a lot of words that are bad. I'm not going to say them on here, but let's just say one of our national mortgage companies is a bad word in Britain. And then I learned the same thing when I was looking at cars here. They don't have a car. It's another bad word, but it's an island in Hawaii. So we learn these little things as we travel. But yeah, the British come down and behave very, very badly in Albufeira on this area called the Strip. And it's called the Strip because it's mirroring the Las Vegas Strip. And if you want to go pretend like you're in Vegas, that's here for you. Some of the best fireworks at New Year's is phenomenal in Albufeira. That place just goes out of control, and it is kind of fun for that. You can watch it from a rooftop hotel as well, and just look down and watch all the chaos. You don't have to be in the chaos if you still like to feel the vibe. So I can't pick that for you. That's a tough one. Okay, so here's Evo. Portugal is really the dream place for expats. My dream is to earn just enough so I can settle in Portugal. Unfortunately, Portuguese jobs don't pay enough, but for those who are coming in, it's arguably the best place. Yeah, for expats, your money goes far. It really goes far here. It's a good, Brian, EU's not open to travel from the US as COVID infection rates are still too high. Yeah, I hear different news every day about it, every day. So I'm not even going to mention that. Sorry, I mentioned it in the last video. As soon as I mentioned it, they changed it. So it's a moving target, and we hear different stuff. It's like every news channel and factoid you see is different. So yeah, just monitor it. Just monitor it from your area, and then look at a lot of the sites on people coming over. There was a resident that I just saw on Portugal. She's so cute, her and her dog. She went through chaos to get back here, and she was a resident of Portugal, so it was chaos, but she finally made it over, and her dog made it over. But she's like 7 canceled flights. Ouch. Any Canadians around? Yeah, there's Canadians. Don't know what else to say about that. There's Canadians. Shirley Wright. Do you help people find a place to rent so they can look first to find out and where they would like to live? No, I don't. So since I'm semi-retired, I am focusing on the luxury market and luxury real estate because I don't want to spend all day, every day helping hundreds of people. I want to pick the few that want like the big, pretty, fun mansions because to me that's fun. I'll still help you and help other people, and I've got some contacts. So if you want to send me over your information, I'll send you depending on where you're at. But we've got real estate agents that do it up north and down south, and then you just kind of have to know the locals as well. I'm building up that network. I found a place for a friend of a friend, just looking through a bunch of stuff online. Not everything is in the MLS. We don't have like an official MLS. There's a company that compiles all of the listings and puts them together for us, and then we kind of use that, and that has some rentals. But there's a lot of under the table rentals, and I can't promote that right, but there are a lot because the taxes on rentals for the people renting out their properties is a little steep. So what's wrong with staying in America? Can't help you there. You're not my tribe. For you, it's great. Stay in America. My neighbor said the best thing ever, and this is kudos to you, my sweet American neighbors. They said, I didn't move to Portugal because I wanted to leave there. I moved to Portugal because I wanted to be there. So it's that mentality of you want to live in Portugal, not leave America. I think that's the best I can say to that again. What's wrong with staying in America? There's nothing wrong with staying in America. It's just, are you do you want to travel abroad and live, life like I do? And a lot of people don't, I had one guy when I was at a new job, we were introducing ourselves, and I said how much I love to travel, and then he stood up and says, travel sucks. I'm like, okay, probably not going to be someone I spend a lot of time hanging out with, because to me, travel, learning other cultures, history, and learning other people and their foods and their styles, it's so interesting to me, global, where we can do it. Let's do it. You know, we didn't have to get on a boat and go for 4 months from place to place. We have these great ways to travel around the world during COVID. God, I'm tired of saying that. Okay, and then now I'm switching over to another site. Let's see. I'm curious insurance is here. I mentioned that in the last one. Insurance, about $100 a month. I'm 52, so if you're in your 50s, you know, go a little higher, a little lower. And again, I used the Jed guy online, Jed Insurance, and there's another one, Abigate. I go on the forums and I look at, and I'll just ask, what insurance do you guys like? They all send you stuff, and that's who I used, and he was great and easy. So $100 for insurance, health insurance a month, and that's your visits and then hospitalization, all of that, blah, blah, blah. You mentioned a retirement visa, but really didn't elaborate. Are the requirements different than Golden Visa? Totally different. Golden Visa is you're buying a property, and retirement visa, this D7, just Google D7 Visa Portugal, and you'll see all the notes. I can go through it all, but you guys can read, right? Like, you know, I could do an episode where I just read the rules. That doesn't sound fun. The procedure, only the Portuguese consular legistans, I don't know what that is, the consulate, with jurisdiction in the applicant's place of residence can judge which applicants meet the criteria for the D7 visa. The consular service in charge will request a binding legal opinion from the Portuguese Immigration and Borders Police, SEF, which will issue their opinion in 20 days. The decision on the visa application takes 60 days from the date of its submission, but they have been putting a hold on those. The D7 visa is a temporary residency visa intended to help the holder obtain a long-term residence permit in Portugal. The visa remains valid for 2 entries, entitling the holder to reside in Portugal for 4 months. So then after you're there for 4 months, then the D7 can obtain a residence permit, usually valid for 1 year, which can then be renewed for 2 years. The residence permit can be traded towards a permanent residence permit after 5 years. This is why the Golden Visa is easier, you know, and family reunification, residence rights, blah, 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 blah. Just Google it. Okay, totally different. I have friends who got one. We'll see, da, 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 da. Thank you, we're a couple. The Golden Visa, 500,000. That's not really a question. I'm 62 and have my stepdad living with me. I'm looking to retire possibly overseas, and no, Portugal's amazing. However, I do not have the 500,000. Poor single teacher. Would this still be something I could consider? My great-grandparents were from Germany. How do I get a visa using them? Oh, go online. Go online. Yay. See if you have what I have. See if there's a way to tie you to your German heritage. And if there is, woohoo. Okay. Awesome information. Thank you. Talked about retiring in the Netherlands. I've been hesitant taking the step out of the country. So go travel. Travel there for 3 months first. Love your post. Oh, thank you. Great information. Do it. A lot of thank yous. So I think I've answered most of the questions. Let me check. Grocery store? Don't worry about it. You're fine. I'll put some videos at the end. I'll put some clips at the end. English, no problem. Why? Hello. It's Europe. It's got history, culture, people. Economical, great ratings all over the world. Google Portugal and Happy Living Index. And yeah, there are a few other minor questions. I think I'll do that on another one because this one's getting very long. I can talk, as you can tell. Talking's not a problem for me. But I think the easiest thing, again, put your questions down below. I'll answer what I can. I'll refer you to who I can, and keep dreaming about moving to Portugal because it's possible and it's a beautiful location. Cheers. Have a happy day.